does not sound. Amazing grace, how sweet it does not sound. Amazing grace, how sweet it does not sound. Ooh, amazing grace. Amazing grace, how sweet it does not sound. For one I love has been put on the ground. Ground. Now I see. Darkness has filled my heart, night has followed our pain and sorrow. Was my tomorrow, the one that I love has been taken away, and I hold in my heart an empty space, left with a place. Lost one I love, the Lord has returned him up above, for no man knows the time of the hour when he no longer smell the sin of a flower. Amazing grace, how sweet it does not sound. Amazing grace, how sweet it does not sound. As a man lived, he must surely die, but no one does not dry the tears that I cried. The one that I loved been taken away, and I find in my heart an empty place. Hey, we're not going to dwell on that too long, but the song may start out in this bleak moment, but at the end, we bring it in. It is Thinking Full Thursday. Thinking Full Thursday. Yes. I am here to talk about it. This is very, very hard for me to do, but I just feel this tugging, this pulling in my spirit to just touch on it. I woke up this morning and I could just feel the fall coming in. I feel it in the air, and also we embarking on hurricane season. Well, we in hurricane season here in the state of Florida and some of the other surrounding states. But anyway, it is 8:28 and we're talking about it. We're getting in. This is our Thinking Full Thursday segment. This is our listening party hour. We're going to talk about grief. I started out with just a little bit of the snippet. If y'all want to go on and hear the rest of it, you can go to any of your listening channels and look up the artist name, Miss Lou, and there's a special edition of Amazing Grace, a special version. But then also, if you just look on the album 25, you also will see that on that track. But anyway, Amazing Grace, how sweet it does not sound. We want to talk about, as we come into this first month, October, of the last quarter, excuse me, in this year. We are in the first month of the last quarter in this year. And we also call this month the fiscal year. But also we are embarking on this celebration season, this holiday season, this season of giving and being thankful for what you've been given, and to just celebrate embarking on what we call our new year. I feel this tugging, and this is very hard for me, but I feel this tugging to just talk about grief. I listened to the Breakfast Club, and they was talking about at the beginning of the week. I don't want to get the artist's name wrong, but I know the female artist was Ashanti, but she was dating someone that passed away, and one of the relatives believed that they should have did more than sending flowers. But from my understanding, just what I gathered from the story, is the relationship had ended, and it ended with this young lady, Ashanti, I hope I'm right on that, was in an abusive relationship, and her abuser had passed on, but she still showed some of respect with sending flowers. And so it was this argument about telling people how to grieve and being offended when people grieve the way that they grieve. And I just want to talk about grief, and then I want to talk about the different stages of grief, but then also what grief look like. The thing is, it's tricky. It's tricky, and it don't get permission. You don't know when it's gonna come. You can't say you're gonna be grieving at first. In that level of grief, you're gonna be angry, or you're gonna be blaming, or you know you're gonna be very sad. But as we look at closely at these five stages that has been coined as these stages of grief, there's no order. There's no order. We could talk about how we could be in denial, and then we anger, and then blaming, and depression, and then at some point in time, and we hope that we will get to the place of acceptance. So the 5 stages of grief. It started out with Amazing Grace. How sweet it does not sound. I had I just want to give shout out to my family, the Gibbs family, to my cousin, and aunt and all, everybody with the Gibbs family, because we have now once again we have been stricken with death. And I want to say, my heart, my prayers, thoughts is with celebrating Narada Senior, Gibbs Senior. But anyway, I want to speak to this area, but I want to share with you, because this may just be for me, for me to continue to go through my healing processes and as I grieve. But Amazing Grace came to me the morning while I was sitting in this incarcerated state. I'm not going to give a whole lot of details, but it was when I had lost a dear loved one. I want to find out more about it. You can get it. Get 25 years to my life, and you can read more about that part of the story, because it's in its own chapter about when Amazing Grace, when I began to get that revelation that no, it don't sound so sweet right now, and that processing in that moment began to heal me. Now here it is. That was January of 2021. So we at 24 years later, almost 25 years later, how Amazing Grace is still comforting me, but I've positioned myself to offer this safe haven to talk about this processing of grief. So a lot of times we think about grief, and we think about physically losing a body, a human, a loved one, and then sometimes we can even quickly add in people who lose their pets and everything, that has a great love for pet. Got a little cat named Missy. She is winning our hearts over here. We got it for our daughter, for her some companion, because they was asking for a dog, and I said, I'm not getting a dog. Let's get a cat. I think we may be just cat people. But anyway, but people also grieve when they lose a pet, just like they will lose a loved one. And so I want to talk about something that when we lose, in the sense that these relationships die out, or as what we find in divorce and in other relationships that stems from that nuclear family and extended family, with having as we call them now, in-laws, but now is in love. But as we join forces in those families, we find it to where we will grieve even when this couple, this union, is dissolved in divorce. And then there's another level, and I believe we're in different stages of now of the residue of the loss, not just the physical lives that were lost, but the loss of what we knew as our normal, and we have now accepted. I heard my mom say this the other day about this new normal, but even the loss of what we had prior to March of 2020. We are still processing and going through the stages. If you could just think for a minute, you could think about the things that what we lost. But I am only coming with this revelation. As I said, I struggle with even saying, I don't want to talk about it, but in obedience, because we're getting ready to embark on this holiday season and we know that, as I was sharing, statistics, it says that a significant portion of Americans, approximately 36 to 40%, will be affected negatively or impacted negatively as it relates to their mental health in this holiday season. They will experience the grief and loss, and then that causes an increased stress, sadness, and feelings of depression. So I just want us to be aware, as we have been, having these listening parties ever since May of this year to kick off Mental Health Awareness Month. We have talked about these 3 areas of mental health that we want to welcome and pull down some walls and taboo subjects of talking about our mental health, being aware. And then in that awareness, and we find that we fall in some of these areas of what we talked about last week, illness, or what we have to deal with and not live with and not just deal with, is our mental health. So we identified, we talked about that. So the mission is to be able to bring awareness, create mental health care plans and mental health treatment plans. And in this here, when we create this and we make this environment that is conducive to where we can at least recognize the stages, just know what these stages are. And sometimes I think about it as we watch and we grow up. I've been in a situation where even at the funeral, on the way to the funeral, I've been told to not cry from this particular loved one that's going on. And we got to stop telling people about how to grieve and just sometimes it's just the only thing that we can say is that I empathize, because sometimes we can't sympathize with them because we haven't lost that level or that order or that role in that family line or loved one line that they're experiencing. So, because I can never tell somebody who lost their mother, thank God, that I sympathize with them. I never will be able to tell them that, hey cousin, look, you know what, I'm on my desktop. Hey, my cousin's on here. I just realized over here to the right of me is my comments. I was like, ain't nobody saying that. But hey, thank y'all for coming on. Amen. I like it. Yes, Robert. Yes, Reset, Sheffield. I appreciate you joining in. I love y'all. But it just had hit me today. It was just really working on my heart about this grieving process. And all I want to do is, go into this place and share and help us to be able to recognize what does those stages look like. So that we have the denial stage. And now you'll see I got it listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I want you to know that it, as I said, is tricky. There's no order in how grief happens. You know, there's no order. It goes and comes, and it goes in waves. And studies show that people will can grieve really like a life sentence, like well beyond 25 years of just grief. But one of the reasons that we found this in research is that because we don't know how to recognize, and then we may find ourselves self-medicating and trauma bonding instead of dealing with that processing of this loss. And we can even talk about the time that we believe that we lose when being raised in a single parent home, that we lose from that other loved one that wasn't. And most time, especially in the African American culture, it is the father that is absent in the house if the mother is not incarcerated or lost in to the drug or in the streets or to death. But anyway, it's usually that is a level of loss. And I believe that we walk around a lot of time in denial of what that really do. But a lot of times we will walk in this area of, and I'm gonna skip on down to blaming. Anytime something happened in our house, in our house or in our life, that there was a loss suffered, we quickly point the finger. Some of the times you ever want to see a family, you probably ain't never seen fight, and probably never heard nobody even curse one another. When you lose somebody, when there's a loss, sometimes it brings out the worst in people. But I just want us to be able to recognize. So it's not just when somebody physically have passed away, but it's the altering and changing of relationships, even when it comes down to the dissolving of a marriage. So even coming off this other side of this pandemic, things that we have lost and that we may grieve on, and I think that we have been in denial of, is that what we said that our normal, we would never see it again. And sometimes we could just grieve on that. It's just not the same. You can feel that there was a whole shifting, and we feeling that even now in 2025, 5 years later from day one of we getting into this pandemic. So we talked about denial, just not accepting, believing the loss of that loved one through divorce, or that loved one through death, the loss of the other side of that residue of people fighting. And then people have lost the fight to losing their home, losing that ideal job, because you fell ill and you never really recovered from having COVID. That's a real thing. And I'm just raising the question that I believe with all my heart that we need to give ourselves that safe place to just fall in that and stop holding and arresting us to how we should rest in our loved one is resting in peace. I'm just thinking about it. So let's not be in denial. Let's not stay in blaming too long. But stay as long as you need to. Because who am I even to say when and where and how long you should stay. But I'm just here to be a messenger for to help you to recognize the stages. So, and then it's okay because sometimes we got to be angry. We got to really deal with it. It's what we do on the other side of these emotions that we operate in an intelligent way, that we are emotionally fit and we have the capacity to say that we are angry, but we know how we respond to that. And we get to the point where we all be praying that we get to soon, and that's accepting that that loved one has moved along. I didn't want to do this, y'all. I'm so honest. I did not want to come on and talk about grieving. And I think that's maybe, like I said, it may just be for me that I am taking time this evening to really talk about processing the stages and recognizing grief. Let's be able to look at the percentages of how we operate now that we'll know and we can share. Would y'all share? Would you share this with someone else? Would you pay more attention to see how in this holiday season do you got to be there a little bit more for your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, your friend? Think about what this season, yes, it is the season to be jolly. La 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 la. But it's a certain weight come to it. I have to be careful even in the holiday season because that's when my life got flipped, turned upside down, December 18th, 1999. So I've been taking that back by celebrating. I got something good coming for you all this December the 18th. But yeah, so this have been our Thinking Full Thursday segment. And we get ready to close this thing out. We talked about grief, being able to recognize the grieving process, being able to have someone to grieve with you. Hey, cousin Ruby Chavez, grieving will have you bitter and broken. You never get through it, but you just learn to deal with it a different way. Yeah. And like I said, nobody can tell you how. There's books. There's books on grief, but just like we all born with that fingerprint, that's just how intricate it is in that processing and going through the stages of grief. Yes, it can cause you to be bitter. And everything is a choice. And I just want us to be able to recognize it. And it's good that you recognize it, Cousin Ruby. It's good that you recognize it. And even with openly saying that you would be able to be relieved and rested in. You're going to see a relief, even for just putting that out there like this today, this evening. The stages of grief, denial, anger, blaming. And then we all hope that we can get to that point of acceptance. Accepting that which have been lost. Whether it's something physically or something in the tangible or something in the relationship or something in the memory. Yes, this has been our Thinking Full Thursday. Every night, every day is not a party, but we will always throw one. when we listen. This have been our Thinking Full Thursday segment, listening party. We've been talking about the stages of grief, and we're going to continue to find something to be thankful for, because guess what? If you on the other side and you're listening in this listening party, you got a one, a two, a three, a four things that you could be listening and thanking the Lord for, and that's that you can hear. You see, you're breathing because you woke up this morning. That's four, my friends. I am sounding off. This has been our Thinking Full Thursday segment. Continue to press through and never, ever grieve alone. Oh, thank you. How are you doing, Dominic? I miss you, must miss you much. It's my classmate, college friend. How you been doing? But yes, so I think that's right. Well, let me see. I'm a click on I love you, cousin Ruby. Let me see. Yes, it may be my friend from shows. Oh, you're from Jacksonville. Hey, girlfriend, how you doing? Yes, so signing off. Thank you. I love. I'm trying to do my love. I'm still trying to get savvy with using this mouse here. But I'm gonna go on and love y'all comments and things. Appreciate y'all coming on and spending. So I am sounding off. Love you. Reset, Restore, Sheffield Davis, Robert, my cousin Robert. Man, my cousins always be showing up and showing up. Man, I got my cousins, they like siblings. And my first cousins like siblings. All my first cousins on the line. Yes, thank you, mom and daddy, for giving me first cousins. And I thank y'all mamas and y'all daddies, y'all aunties, my aunties and uncles for giving me y'all. Yes, bye-bye. Good night. You can choose to keep or delete.